It's Sunday, May 18, 2025, and I've got my jacket on, for crying out loud. It's cold out here. I think it's about 11 degrees or something. So I had a visitor today. I alluded to this a week ago on last week's video, and so I wanted to just introduce you to my visitor and his traveling companion here. You know this guy.
Hello, everyone.
Old McNally himself. And this guy. Introduce your friend, James.
This is my partner in the bee business. This is Alan Sorensen.
So the Alan that you hear about and rarely see, this is Alan. He's a solid individual. We've been having coffee and visiting most of the day. So let me take this over. And James can kind of explain to you why he's in my yard.
Well, first off, Brad had coffee on, so
that's reason enough to drive 18 hours.
So I'm gonna go see your neighbor for coffee, have a coffee, right? There's a little bit of a jab there, but that's okay. Good fun, always having fun. But we are actually over here, kind of an interesting story because off of YouTube, one of the individual or the YouTubers that follows Brad and actually has been following me for quite some years, heard about the season that we had, reached out to me, and we're over here picking up some hives, of which we're going to split here and take back to Alberta. And Brad was nice enough to help us out here as well. So he stopped by and picked up a bunch of queens there for us. So we came out here for coffee, picking up the queens, and then we're going to go split some of these hives. You'll be able to see that on my channel. And we're going to take them back to warm Alberta.
You think so?
So, but
anything can happen.
Absolutely. So that's what we're doing out here in Manitoba. So once again, you know, the power of YouTube and the generosity of YouTubers and people that watch us never ceases to amaze me. So this is what we're doing out here from Alberta all the way over here to Manitoba. So it's 18 hours to Winnipeg, and I think it's almost 19 hours out here to Brad's place. So that's what we're doing here.
Well, always nice to see you. I'm glad that he drives 18 hours to come and have coffee with me. I have never been to his place, so I guess maybe I'm on the hook now.
Yeah, you know, that's the funny thing about those roads. They go both ways.
They only go one way. Yeah. James is right. You know, I've always believed in taking care of each other and you know, feeling each other's pain and doing what you can. But since my experience last year, I mean, James has been very generous to me, and you know, I've gotten bees from him 2 years ago and queens from him last year, and lots of help from other people too. It's just really became real to me and very personal. So all I want to say in that vein is just be kind to each other, look out for each other. I want to caution everyone, don't start to feel entitled. You know, if someone isn't maybe giving you what you think they should give you, maybe that's because you don't understand their struggle. You know, everybody has their struggles, and we don't always put those right out in front. A lot of us walk around with a real brave face, and you don't see what's going on behind. So if there's somebody in your world who is struggling and you can help, give them a hand. Because, you know, I have a saying that if you're truly given from the heart, it's impossible to give more than you get.
Absolutely.
It can't happen. So I just wanted to bring you in on this and kind of satiate your curiosity as to the special guest today. This is a kind of a short visit because I'm not going with them. And I just wanted to bring you in on that and say hi and catch you up. I'm not even wearing short pants. It's so cold out here. Oh, it's cold. It is cold.
It's warmer than it was yesterday.
And it's warmer than it was yesterday. So you see how cold it was yesterday. All right. Thanks for watching. It's Thursday, May 22nd, 2025. And a beautiful day it is. It's still only 15 C, what is about 10:30 in the morning. But perfectly blue sky, bright sun, very warm. There's bees everywhere. I don't know if you can see the bees in the air here, but I can. You know, for the number of hives I have here, there should be way more bees in the air, but I'm happy to see the bees that I have for sure. Now, catch you up. Yesterday, I worked most of the day. I did a lot of odd jobs, but I converted the tractor. So we got rid of the snowblower. We got the backhoe on. Backhoe is mostly for weight, and I'll point out some shortcomings using it as a counterweight. Put the mower on. So what I run into here, and literally I run into things because it's actually pretty long. This thing is 15. I think it's over 15 feet long from the tip of the forks to the back. Yeah, actually, no, it's more than that. It's probably close to 20 feet long. And one of the big problems is the stabilizers here. They're not within my sight line, and I tend to crash those into stuff from time to time. There's not really much I can do about that. So my little counterbalance box that I have, you've seen that in past years on here. That's a nice counterweight. It's not very heavy. It's not nearly as heavy as this, and but it's very compact. But it won't do anything else for me. If I need to dig a hole or something, I have some projects this summer that I want to do with this backhoe. Also, I have a garden tiller that works as a good counterweight as well, because it's fairly heavy. But it also sticks out, you know, a fairly good distance, but it's wide. It's wider than the tractor, so that's a problem. But enough whining about my tractor problems. So I have a plan. I made a plan here, and here's my plan. The objectives of my plan are to build my colony numbers. I suspect my honey crop this year is going to be modest at best, because I don't want to go out and spend a whole ton of money buying bees. I don't even want to spend a ton of money buying queens. I would have bought queens, but I couldn't depend on how many queens I could absorb here in my apiary. Now, what I'm going to do here, and it's going to be a bit of a stretch, but today I'm going to create a cell builder. I've got I've got five colonies here that deserved a second. So I think out of that, I can scoop enough resources to make a cell builder. I'll also pilfer some of the smaller ones that just, you know, aren't really, anybody that's got anything to offer, I'll pilfer it, because once I use those resources to raise a queen for that colony, then I can put a nice new mated queen in there, and she should take off like a scalded cat, as my dad might say. So you can see I've brought out my poly boxes. It's hard to see the screen. My poly boxes here, and there's a couple more skids of them here. I don't know that I'll use that many, but I just set them out so I wouldn't have quite so much walking. You can see this one here. I've zombied up this one into a poly box, and I thought, you know what, I'll just condense these down into 6 frames, put them in the poly boxes. The polys work really well. We're still getting some cold nights, so the polys will help the colonies with those cold nights, and give those little colonies the best chance they could have. Now these actually, you see this one, it's really good already, because it's already got 2 inches of polystyrene. I think that's even higher R value than a poly box, but it's still in a pretty big box. So that's what I'm going to do here today. I don't know if I could get through everything, but I can work at this tomorrow too, I think. The key today is to make the cell builder. So I think I'll start by going through some of the stronger colonies, and I think I'm going to use a 10 frame cell builder because I want to raise a, a good crop of queens fast because it's the 22nd of May. And, if I graft today, I won't have laying queen for a month, right? At least I can't depend on it. Sometimes they lay a little quicker than that, but, not much. So that's the timing. So I won't have laying queen until solstice. Not ideal. However, like I said, those new queens, quite often, they really take off really well. They lay hard and they build up fast. So they'll be building up through July, which is prime season for resources, lots of nectar and pollen and warm weather and whatnot. So that's when bees build, is in July, late June and into July. So that's the plan. And how many colonies we end up with, who knows? What do I want to target? Well, I think I should target 120, perhaps. So that means raising pretty well 120 queens. That's not such a hardship because I can do that in uh, 3 to 4 rounds of grafting, uh, and with a modest amount of failures, because I can graft 45 at a time with a strong enough cell builder. I may not want to graft 45. See, for the newer people, you can raise. Well, back up. There's sometimes people who raise queens. They say, well, if you don't have 100 colonies, you don't have 500 colonies, you really can't raise queens, and that's total nonsense. That's a complete nonsense. If you have one colony, you can raise queens. It's just might change the method you use and the scale. If you have one colony, you're not going to raise 100 queens. With the resources I have here, I'm being optimistic that I can raise 100 queens, but we're going to do our best. Your limiting factor is your cell builder. I've come to say that the magic is in the cell builder. The magic is all in the cell builder. You have to get everything else just right. You have to know how to graft. You have to get your timing right, on and on and on. But the magic is in the cell builder. Michael Palmer talks about this in his own way. He says that a queen raised under ideal conditions will, on average, be a better queen than a queen raised from ideal genetics. I believe that's true. Don't think that I'm discounting the value of selection as far as mite tolerance, etc. That's very important. That's not what I'm doing here. Uh, if I notice some, I I mean, I'm always going to graft from my best, right? I'm going to graft from the ones that are doing really well. Randy Oliver puts it this way. He says, my first rule of selection is I never graft from a dead queen. Now, that's ridiculous to think that you'd graft from a dead queen, but the point is you're going to graft from a good, strong, overwintered is important, queen that is showing vigor and laying well and has a strong colony and all those things. So those are the prime selection criteria, in my opinion. If you want to go further than that, I mean, a lot of our bees today, people used to say, well, I select for, I don't want bees that are creating too much propolis. Because in the old days, I guess bees created more propolis and management was a real pain. And I understand that. But today, the bees that we have don't seem to be producing, an unmanageable amount of propolis. So, is that a selection criteria? Sure, but pretty well everything is bred that way already. Gentleness, I just cut the grass in my whole apiary on my tractor, and then I took my string trimmer and I trimmed around every beehive, including in front of the entrances, with no head covering. I'm in short pants and a t-shirt. So do you think my bees are aggressive? No, they're not aggressive. My bees are very gentle. So I don't have to worry about selecting the wrong colony and getting something mean. If all you have is mean bees, then that's all you have. But so that's a criteria as well. But I don't have to worry about those criteria. I don't have to worry about them. What I need to worry about is overwintered. And if I can see somebody that I think is tolerating their mite loads well, then I want that too. I don't generally track colony honey production. That's a good metric too if you're making money on honey. I am, so maybe I should be tracking that, but I'm not. So those are the criteria. I think that raising queens you need to be mindful of. But this notion that you need 50 or 100 or hundreds of colonies to raise queens is complete nonsense. One colony will raise queens, but it may only raise one or two or a half a dozen. So, prove that to yourself. Let your colony start swarm preparations. You open that colony and see how many nice queen cells there are in it. A nice healthy colony will produce a dozen cells or more. So, that's really the indicator right there. The magic is in the cell builder. So back to that. There's a method to use that is that is a queenless cell builder, that you only have your grafts in there for 24 hours. You can leave them in there for 48 or maybe longer if you want, but you only have to leave them there for 24 hours. And then you transfer those cells to a strong queen right cell finisher. You put them above queen excluder. There's other details with that. But so the whole point is, you may have, say if I had, well, I have 6, right? I have 6 nice colonies. Maybe I won't when I'm done, because I'm going to tear them all apart in the interest of the cell starter. So if you have a half a dozen, say you have 7, half a dozen, doesn't matter how many, nice strong doubles go in there. You can graft every day up until you run out of cell finishers. And then you could actually just leave the cells in the cell starter for the last round. They do have to sit in there for, okay, help me out, people. They have to sit in there 24 hours. They'll have to sit in there for another 13 days or so. So in order to graft absolutely every day, you need a dozen or more cell finishers. But you can rotate that cell starter every day if you want. I don't know that I'll do that, but I might. I might have to build a nice strong cell finisher and graft every day for the next few days. Get lots of cells going really fast. I have my 4-frame nuke boxes that I'm looking at here. Those are going to be my mating nukes, and the zombies will be resources for those. And some of these really are zombies. They're really awful. You don't need much for a mating nuke, just a handful of bees, especially when it's warm. When we have warm weather, just a little handful of bees in that, even if it's a 4-framer, they're fine. She'll mate, and then she'll start to lay. You can evaluate her pattern, and then you can cage her, requeen something else, or just boost that little mating nuke into a little bit stronger colony. So having said all of that, I got to get to work. And fortunately, I've got some help coming today. So we'll introduce you to the help when they arrive, and we'll get to going through these. I think I want to start by doing the cell starter, get it established and get it settling in. And then I want to do my first graft on Saturday. So it'll sit tomorrow, and then Saturday I'll graft, and we'll put a graft into that on Saturday. So, all right, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy this. Okay, now there's a lot of very specific instructions as to how to put together a cell builder. And there's a lot of really good methods. But I'm always a fan of understanding what you're trying to accomplish, because a lot of times we need to modify what we've been told to suit our situation, our location, our desire. You know, a lot of times I don't want to do it the way somebody else does it for various reasons. A lot of times I'm just too lazy to be honest. So this one I just made into a double, so it's not likely going to house the queen, but never know. Well, there's tiny larvae there, so maybe it will house the queen. I'll go through it, see if I see her. And so understanding what you're trying to accomplish really, I think, is the most important thing. So I always say the magic is in the cell builder. Cell starter, cell finisher, cell builder. Cell builder kind of encompasses cell starter, cell finisher. That actually is a pretty good frame of bee bread. The bees could use that in the cell builder. I need another pro nuke here. And so what you need is you need resources. And what are resources? You need lots and lots and lots of young bees. Those nurse bees. You want those nurse bees. You want some sealed brood. If you don't have open brood, that's good, because they won't have anything with which to start a queen cell, because this is going to be a queenless cell starter. Currently not seeing the queen. That's a nice frame of brood though. I have to find the queen, but in the meantime I'm taking that frame of brood. And then you need feed. You need pollen, you need nectar. Failing that, you need syrup and pollen patties or supplement of some kind. Oh, that's a story frame they've started to build, and that lobe is fragile, so I need to be careful with that. So here I'm trying to get lots of nurse bees. I do want some nice healthy sealed brood frames. And there's my queen. She's not marked, so we'll fix that. Why am I shaking suddenly? Huh. Catch her by the wings, hold her by the feet or the legs. She's buzzing. Okay. So I've got her. I want this frame though. So I'm going to try to take this frame before I put her back. I'll take this story frame and just put her on the story frame. Right there. And then before she transfers to any others, I should have a quiet box. I have another pro nuke here. That's a pretty good frame, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to shake all the rest of these bees off into my pro nuke. And the young bees will stay in the pro nuke, and the old bees will fly back. So in this case, I'm using flyback to achieve my objective. I often say, use what you know about the bees to work for you. And that's one of the things. I want young bees. So you often hear people talk about, well, if you're going to move bees, you move them 3 feet or 3 miles. And that's so that you don't suffer flyback to deplete the bees that you've moved. In this case, I'm using that principle to extract the old bees from here back into the colony I took them from. I'm going to look through this one too. No, this will be zombied into a poly later. That one doesn't really have anything to offer either. I have to remember to put 2 more frames back in here. Here's one that I made into a double. It might have something for me. This one also will be zombied later on. And that term zombied, that's not a beekeeping term. That's just something funny little term that a viewer came up with to describe those colonies. And what it is it's a colony that that's really not catching on. And instead of just killing the queen, I'll put them in a box and set them aside. And she may lay brood for me over time in order to make mating nukes or make, boost hives, that sort of thing. I made these doubles days ago, so they're not really going to have too much in the second box, but they might have a queen. That's what I'm looking for. Looking for a queen with sunglasses on, that's not a very good idea. Seeing more and more drones, which is great. And the rule is that early in the season, you need to wait until you see walking drones before you can graft. There's actually a lot of drones in this one. There she is, also unmarked, so we'll fix that. I found that I need to be sure that I don't touch the queen until I'm ready to pick her up, because that'll get her all nervous and she'll start to run, or worse, she could fly. Okay. I'm going to set this frame in this pronuke over here just to keep that queen safe while I pillage her hive. So we'll get some nice brood frames, hopefully. Brood frames and pollen really are what I'm after. It's good on one side, not that great on the other. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's kind of as good as I've seen anyway. shake the bees off the open brood, there's a lot more young bees there. Uh-oh. I got zealous here and I put 10 frames in because I have my queen frame here still. The bees are trying to chew that paint off of her back. Second box. Now, I've got these 4 frames here and lots of bees. I'm going to take those over to the cell starter box and just unload them because I need 6 more frames. This poor hive, I've pilfered this a couple times already, but she seems to be doing pretty good, so I don't think I'm damaging it. This actually is probably going to be my breeder by virtue of the fact that it was just the strongest colony that I had out of winter. It built up the best. So one can infer a bunch of stuff out of that. One thing being that maybe they tolerate mites better, but we can't substantiate that without doing further testing. That's a nice... I get a woodpecker trying to break into my sea can. I bet he gets a headache doing that. That's a nice frame of bee bread. I think I'm going to take that for the cell starter. There's eggs throughout this. It's very nice. I think I've marked this queen already because I know I've seen her. That's 6 inches lower on these hives. Makes a big difference. They're all lined up looking, what's going on? Lots of drones here, but that may be a problem. If you know the kind of the reproductive principles of bees, queen mates with a number of drones. So this queen will be producing subsets of half sisters. So they all have the same mother, but there she is right there. And she is marked. So I'm going to hopefully just set her aside in this box. Yeah, so there's subsets of half sisters in here, but particularly so the eggs or the larvae that I'm going to be grafting, again, have all the same mother, but not necessarily the same father. They may, two of them might have the same father, but there's a range of fathers here represented here. And same goes for the drones, but they have no father, so they are all representative of the queen, not the drones. So all of the drones are brothers. Okay, so all of the drones in here are genetically pretty well the same. I mean, they're maybe not twins. I guess maybe they are. I don't know. But the fact is, the drones are brothers. And they are, I guess you could say that the drones are brothers of the workers, even though the workers might be half sisters, because the drones have no father. So that's all confusing, but what I'm trying to go toward, and I'm working this out in my head, is I see a lot of drones in here. That's good. I need drones for mating, but I said earlier that this is probably my breeder. Well, that's not the best, because I can't breed queens with their brothers. That's not the way it works. I don't know. I could take that. It's got some pollen in it, a little bit of brood on this side. Nice little patch there. I'll take it. So once you find the queen, you can really go to town shaking bees. Oh, I got the queen frame here, so we'll put her right in the middle. See, other than the fact that I've been marking the queens, I didn't touch her because she's already marked. This quiet box method, meaning this pronuke that's sitting off to my left, is a nice method because you can handle the queen without handling the queen. You can control the queen. You can keep her safe. You can remove her from the hive so I can go crazy shaking frames without picking her up, caging her, because the less times you manipulate and handle the queen, the better, because accidents happen. And when accidents happen with your queen, that's not good. All right, let's go do another one. And make no mistake, you may be sitting there thinking, wow, he's sure pushing back his best colonies to do this. And you're right, I am. I have a half a dozen colonies here that are pretty nice. And I'm pulling the rug out from under them. But out of a half a dozen nice colonies, I stand to make 100, good colonies as well. So that's really what's going on here. Sacrifice for the greater good. Well, there's my queen right there. And she also is not marked. So we'll take care of that. Okay. I'm a little shaky today. I haven't eaten. I think that's my problem. Okay, we'll put her back on that frame. And we'll put that frame in the quiet box to my left. She's not laying up in here yet. I'll just pilfer the bees out of it. And we'll go in the bottom and do some shaking. Well, shaking and pilfering some brood down here too, hopefully. Boy, it's nice when you find the queen right off like that. Bada bing, bada boom. That's not bad. I will reserve my option on that one. I don't like it because it has a big piece of comb sticking out here. They built comb out into the empty space in the story frame. That's a nice one. Okay, I'll take that one. So I'll need one more nice frame of brood. I'll shake bees until I find it. None of these brood frames are real perfect. That one's not bad, you know, it's not a great brood frame, but boy, it has some nice pollen on it, which is a valuable resource for my cell builder. Well, look here. That one's the same, it's got more brood, so I'll take that one. I'll put my queen frame back here. Okay, this looks really nice. Look at all these bees. It's just polluted with bees. I want to put the frame that I took as a pollen frame or bee bread. I want to put it over right beside, which is that frame right there, right beside the graft, so that there's bee bread right beside the cells that they're going to be working on. All right, so this is all the frames that are going to go in here for now. But it's not all the bees that are going to go in here. I have more. All I'm going to do now is do the same thing. I'm going to go over and find a queen out of a strong colony. And I'm going to shake the frames into this box. Okay, these two are kind of my superstars. Well, I don't know about superstar. They've been enjoying this Api pasta. It's still soft. I know sometimes if it gets separated from the bag, it kind of dries out. But overall, I like it. It's a very convenient way to feed the bees. You see them lined up here. Boy, do they ever like it. So I need to find the queen here. I'm going to put this box over here just to separate the queen area from the non-queen area. I don't know that I've been in this box since winter. I can see I need to clean that bottom board. It's really gross. There's the queen. All right, so conveniently, I'll just set her right on that side. I don't need to bother with a quiet box. And I can commence to raiding her hive. I'm just gonna shake the bees into this pro-nuke. The old bees will fly away, and the young bees will stay in the box. Not a lot of bees here. Finish cleaning this box a bit, then go through the top one. So, my two very best colonies are in insulated boxes. Do insulated boxes make a difference? Well, I say they do. Particularly in the spring. We get the cold nights. The insulated boxes just mitigate the effect of those cold nights. Careful doing this when you don't know where the queen is, because she could be anywhere. I've seen queens walking on that wall, go to scrape, and there's a queen walking there. Okay, get these feed frames back over here. I'm going to put a story frame in here. It's just some sugar I was feeding them. What I'm also going to do, I'm going to put this frame in here. It's a pretty nice empty frame. So I'm going to put that right in the middle of the nest. And then maybe I can pull some larvae out of that. It might not be ready on Saturday, because if she lays tomorrow, it's not likely laying it right away because the bees have to prep it. So if she lays tomorrow, Friday, then the egg will hatch on Monday, so I can maybe graft from that on Monday. I'm going to temporarily put a queen excluder on this one to keep the queen down here. I didn't end up with very many bees, but there's a few. But if they're going to fly, I don't need them. They'll fly back anyway. Okay, I'll try to tip this up. Clean that bottom board. Tom Seeley said that as far as swarms deciding on a home, they don't care what the bottom looks like. I do. Okay, so I was just getting this together. And this is one thing you're going to hate about beekeeping, is there's a lot of heavy lifting. This one's actually not that heavy. And so there's this box, and see how many bees are left in here? Not very many. I'm going to shake all the bees out of this box. What I've done already is I know where the queen is, and she's in the bottom box. And if you noticed, that's a queen excluder. She can't get through that. So I want this to be a double. I want to have space for the bees, but I don't want her to lay in the second box at this time. And my reasoning is I want to breed from this one, and I've put an open frame in the bottom for her to lay in. Now, so here's the anatomy of frame again. Open cells, quote, air quotes, honey. It's actually sugar syrup. I fed them last fall.
Oh, okay. And are they still eating it?
Yep.
Okay.
There's lots left. I want to leverage that because it's big money.
Yeah, you were saying.
Oh, spent so much,
right?
so much money. Those boxes sitting right over there, they're almost completely right full of it. Solid syrup frames. Okay, so here's anatomy. Sealed brood. And then you see the larva.
Wow.
Okay. So if you look, see, I have to take my sunglasses off. Well, I don't see any eggs. So you can see a really tiny, small larva there, and then they get a little bit bigger as they go.
Oh, wow.
So remember I was saying about the life cycle? You got to learn that.
Right.
So here it is. She lays an egg. On the 3rd day it hatches.
3 days, really?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, on the 3rd day it hatches into a larva, and then the bees start to feed it royal jelly, or jelly is really, it should be just called jelly.
Yeah.
And then on day 8, see, they're sealing this one up. They're building the cover for it. That's day 8 for that one. So now what you can learn is,
Okay.
now you can learn, what does a day 8 or a day 7 larva look like? This is probably day 6 or 7, right?
They're just starting to cover it
Right,
up?
because it's always a progression, right? So this larva won't be much different in age than this one. So if they're just starting to cap that one, then that one's probably, 6 or 7. See, this one's open here, so they're starting to cap them.
Oh my
I
goodness.
wish there was an egg there I could show you. They're they're very small. They're a third of the size of a grain of rice. They're very small. As clean as I go. I was feeding them some powdered sugar a few days ago. So, yeah, I'm not ending up with too many bees in my bucket. This is going to take a while.
Oh, so you're looking for, what were you saying?
I want to get more nurse bees in here to dump into that hive. And if they fly back, that's okay, because that's not the bees I want.
Right.
But I'm not ending up with too many. Now this one, oh, here's eggs. It's better to look. You want to kind of see your shadow and just look over your shadow. But sometimes it's a little too shiny.
Let me see.
Can you see the eggs in these little cells here?
Oh my gosh, they're tiny.
They are tiny. And usually,
Those look like just little specks.
if it's just one, it's hard to see. But
Yeah.
if it's a pattern of them, because
Yeah.
I can see eggs all throughout here. And if you look at that frame at a distance, you can see there's something different here, even without seeing in the cells, right?
Yeah. Totally.
So you can see there's something different. You can look at a frame, because the bees will actually go and prepare the cells for the queen to lay in.
Okay.
And you can see that before there's anything in that cell. You can see that pattern. You can see that this patch looks different. This patch looks, not like everything else. So this is an excellent place for her to lay, because what's this? What's all this stuff?
Is all that?
It's baby food.
Oh yeah, that is.
That's pollen.
Oh. They
So-
put that there before?
So they got the baby food right beside the babies.
Oh.
So these guys, see, she's, I don't know if
Yeah.
she's putting or eating. So they'll eat the baby food, and then that produces the royal jelly. And then they excrete the royal jelly into here.
Wow.
And there's not a lot of jelly, but you can just see some of it. If you see any liquid in there, sometimes they call it milk brood, when there's just a little brood and a little bit of jelly.
There's a little bit, yeah.
And sometimes you can't even, when that egg hatches, you can't see the larva, it's so small.
Really?
But you can see a dot of royal jelly,
Yeah.
right? They don't feed eggs, and they don't feed empty cells.
Right.
So if there's a dot of royal jelly, there's a tiny larva in
There
there.
has to be something
Right?
there.
There's something in there. The bees know. They're not dumb that way. They're very thrifty. They
very
don't
smart.
waste resources, right?
Good.
So here again, if you were to look at that frame, you can see that there's something different here, a little bit of a different pattern.
Yeah. So
And
is this all where they're wanting to lay eggs? It's like,
they've prepared this for her. There's larvae here. I don't see a lot of eggs here yet,
okay.
but see, there's a little bit of sealed brood here that hasn't emerged yet.
So usually all the sealed There's little babies in there.
There's a baby in
Okay.
every one of those. Yeah.
Wow.
So we'll shake this one off. Yeah, every single one. So what's happened here is this was all laid and developed, and they're emerging, and then she's gone back and relayed up these empty cells. So there's a larva in every one of these empty cells. So just the whole cycle.
So they just keep laying all summer long.
Yep, she can lay 2,000 of those eggs a day. And as a reference, there's the two sides of this frame. In all, there's about 7,000 cells. It's about 3,500 on a side.
Oh my goodness.
So she'll lay that side in 3-4 days. So we're getting somewhere now. I don't know if they're all going to stay, but you know. And I'm really pilfering this hive, but again, a lot of those are going to fly back here. So,
But the ones that are going to emerge are probably just going to stay there?
yeah. Oh yeah, the ones that'll emerge will stay there for sure. So this is actually a pretty nice brood frame. Look at this, it's a newer frame. This is probably one of the first rounds of brood in this frame. And again, I don't see a lot of eggs in there. But, you know, and I really recommend a new beekeeper look at that kind of thing, even if you don't really know what you're looking at.
Yeah.
Like, look at it, get very familiar with what it looks like, because if you know very well what normal looks like and there's something wrong, you'll see it in a second. You'll pull that and just say, I don't know what's wrong with that, but there's something wrong with that.
Yeah.
It's not normal. Right. So this is just a feed frame. These are like the older bees, but I don't know, so I'm going to take them anyway. They will figure it out. Here's a little cup. Now the bees just build these. It's nothing crazy. This is a queen cup. So I'll just peel that open and look in the bottom. If there's an egg in the bottom, then that's something.
Do you get rid of the egg?
Well, you can if you want. They'll build another one tomorrow. A cup, I always say a cup with nothing in it is nothing.
Okay.
They just build those, and then at some point they decide that they want to replace their queen. So they'll tell the queen to say, hey, go lay an egg in this little cup that we made. And the queen will say, yeah, okay, that's a good idea. And then they'll make a new queen, and she'll kill the old one. It's kind of a little...
The lure is to just lay a replacement.
Exactly, a little bit of deception there. Yeah, lay in that cup. Yeah, that's right. She did it. I can't believe she did it. Yeah, exactly. Oh, you know what? There's a lot of dark things about beekeeping.
That the bees
Like
do?
cannibalizing the babies and stuff.
The bees do that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no
Oh,
way.
yeah. You betcha.
Oh, nature.
Good old nature. And this is some fondant that I gave them.
Oh.
This guy gave me some fondant to try, so I thought I'd try it, and I had to put the shim on to be able to fit.
That's so interesting.
They seem to be eating it. This stuff is delicious too. I tried
Yeah,
it.
'cause you could
It's really good.
Like baby.
Oh, it's really good. Yeah. So here, I need to find the queen before I can just indiscriminately shake bees. So we'll find the queen. Fortunately, I marked her when I had her out. So she got a green dot on her. Now these are feed frames, so she's not likely to be on feed frames, but I've seen crazier things. Yeah, I hope you know what you're getting into. Beekeeping.
I'm excited.
They drive you. They push you. It's a lot of work, and you've got to do it when they want to do it.
Yeah.
If you find yourself working against the bees, this is not good.
Gotta work with them.
You gotta, the bees will tell you what they want to do, and then you just need to say, okay, let's do that. You can capitalize, you can say, they'll say, well, we want to collect nectar and make honey. Okay, let's do that. And then set them up to do that.
Oh, okay.
See, here's more cups. And see that?
Yeah.
They're making a queen.
Oh. So they are making a new queen.
Yeah, they're making a queen there.
Uh-oh.
Now, this is a little different though. That other cup stuck out here. So there's nothing in that one.
Okay.
So that's a supersedure cell, meaning we're using this to replace the queen. Now what happened here was, see, these cups don't stick out. They're in the comb. They come from in the comb. So they've taken an egg or a larva of the right age, and they've decided we're going to make a queen out of that. So that's called an emergency queen.
Oh.
That's because I took the queen out.
Yeah. Oh.
As soon as the queen disappears,
Yeah.
they realize, we got no queen. Well, we better make one.
Yeah.
So they do that, like in hours. They'll start that. So I need to just curtail that plan.
So they make all of this stuff. Like this is squishy.
Yeah, it's just
They make it.
it's just wax. Yeah,
Okay.
it all comes out of their body.
Huh.
They
How
make.
long does it take for them to make the whole frame?
Oh, it depends. They use nectar from the flowers.
Okay.
So if there's a good honey flow, they'll draw that whole frame in a couple days.
Wow.
Easy. So this is one of the things that I need to do with this colony, is hunt down what I call rogue cells. Cells that I'm not in charge of. Because I don't want this colony making a queen, because they'll make that queen and that queen will kill the queen that I have, and I kind of like the queen I have.
Doing a good job.
So I need to check every frame in here for those cells. And typically I'll shake all the bees off, but I'm not going to shake them off until I find the queen. That's a beautiful frame. Boy, that's nice. It's a newer comb. It's a nice new frame. There's the queen right there.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
Yeah. So here's a cell. See, they're quite far along with this one.
Oh.
So we need to get rid of that for sure. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't want to.
No, we're protecting it. Sorry, bee. You still see her?
Yeah.
Can you put the frame in that box? No, doesn't matter. It's in there. We're just gonna keep her safe and separate from there. I highly recommend that method. It's just a little plastic transport box, but the usage of it is called a quiet box. So you're managing your colonies. You pull a frame, you see your queen. If you have a quiet box next to you, set that frame in there, and then you have impunity, right?
That makes sense.
Because quite often you'll damage your queen.
I just placed it on the ground or something.
Yeah, it was so easy. It's so easy to damage your queen. Just be sure that doesn't blow off. So now I'm going to shake frames. And I'm going to check for rogue cells. Without my queen, now I can just work swiftly and indiscriminately. This is where we get a few bees in the air.
That's so many now.
Yeah, well, you need lots. Because again, a lot of them are still going to fly back, so we need more than...
Is that pollen on their legs?
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
that's the pollen. That's probably dandelion. Might be something else, but... See, these are just cups. I don't think they're a threat. So, you wonder, what does a baby bee look like? Well, these are baby bees.
Aww.
See, she's really fuzzy. See, she's just being born. She's coming right out. You wanna hold that? Oh, she just got out. Look. So she is. You just watched a bee being born.
All bumbly.
She's yeah. She's hungry. She's looking for something to eat.
Quick.
So you kind of see the difference. They're technically an adult, but very, very young, very, fluffy.
Yeah. They're cute.
Yeah. Yeah, little baby bees. I'd love to see those in the spring because that's what we need. Baby bees. Okay, I'm gonna take this box off and shake some from the bottom. Ah, grabbed that and she stung me.
So when it's really hot out, like that plus 33 day the other last week,
Yeah,
was it too hot for them?
it's never too hot for
They
them
don't need
around.
shade or anything.
Around here, it's never too hot
Yeah.
for them.
Because
You
it's
get
not
down in
cold.
Florida or Texas or something, it can get pretty hot for them,
Okay.
but not around here. I mean, it can get pretty hot, but you know,
So they don't need shade or anything? They
no,
prefer the
no,
sun?
don't put them in the shade.
Okay.
No. So when you're looking for a place to put your bees,
Yeah.
it's nice to have a north shelter from that cold north wind.
Okay. Okay.
But something south exposure, some kind of a north shelter. I'm not sheltered really well here, but pretty good in this direction.
Yeah.
When I get that northeast wind, it's bad. It gets very cold here, but I don't have much choice.
Yeah.
I'm really pilfering this hive. You see what I see?
What?
Queen cell.
Yeah.
See royal jelly?
That's a big one, isn't
Want to
it?
taste it? People eat that stuff all the time.
Yeah. Are you serious?
Yeah, people eat it all the time.
Is that...
Yeah. It's very high in protein and carbohydrates. So here's another one.
Is it sweet?
No, it's kind of bitter.
Huh.
Would do you taste it?
Yeah.
What's it taste like?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. People that eat that all the time. It's a big industry actually,
Yeah.
selling it. But
I know it's in like cosmetics and stuff.
yeah, problem is, people ask me, "Oh, do you produce royal jelly?" I say, "No, I don't." And the reason I don't is I have to kill the queen to do it.
Oh.
Right? I have to
Yeah.
raise a queen, but I have to kill her. I'd rather raise a queen and then make a colony out of her. So I mentioned I was getting some help today. Lexi come by, and Lexi was out last year a couple of times to just kind of experience the bees, and then at the end of the season she said, I think I want to do bees next year. So I said, I'll make you an offer, and I don't make this offer to just anybody. You have to really show very, very deep interest and conviction to beekeeping, and you have to make yourself available too. If you have a schedule that doesn't allow you to learn about it or do it, then it's kind of pointless for me to try and teach and for them to try and learn. But Lexi's got those things. She's got the commitment of time and effort to learn. And so I said, you know what, you should come out here and I'll take you through the steps. And we'll make a cell builder, we'll graft, we'll raise queens, we'll take some of those queens, we'll make some colonies for you. You can take those home, and those will be your bees to start with. So we've just finished making mostly finished making a cell starter. I have to put the lid and whatnot on it yet, but we'll go over and do that in a minute. So welcome. I hope you learn a lot.
I'm excited.
So if you see Lexi around here, you'll know what's going on. All right. So we're gonna get into the second part of what today is gonna hold, and as I mentioned earlier, we're gonna zombie up a bunch of these weaker colonies. I haven't even explained that to Lexi yet, so she doesn't know what she's in for. It's pretty easy, and this is part of beekeeping, right? Like sometimes the work isn't as heavy and it's really interesting, like making a cell starter, and sometimes it's just work. And the second part of today is going to be just work. So that's what we're going to be doing. It's Friday, May 23rd, 2025. Now, I kind of left you hanging yesterday, but I'll catch you up. So as you saw, I was pilfering hives for bees, and this is my resulting cell builder here. So I'll take you over there and lift the hood and show you what's going on in there. I don't have my tripod with me, and I haven't bothered to put my veil on, so this may be entertaining. So I'll describe what I did. As you saw, I pilfered 8 frames of bees and brood. And there was one frame that had brood and a nice patch of bee bread on it, so I put that in here. So there are 9 frames in here. I left the 10th frame, the 10th space free for my graft frame. And that I'll be grafting in there tomorrow. So you'll have to wait till next week to see how that went. Now let's lift this lid and see what this looks like. So this is pretty good. It's not absolutely the most populous builder I've ever seen or that I've ever built, but it looks pretty darn good. The fact that there's this space here allows a lot of the bees to congregate there. So that frame in the middle that I've got kind of set separately, that's my pollen frame. And then I'll just slide that aside and slip my graft frame in the middle. I will put, I'll put a pollen patty on here, and I'll also put a sugar jar of sugar syrup on top. And I'm going to do that even though we do have dandelions here. Dandelion pollen isn't the most nutritious pollen, and I'm no fool, neither is pollen patty, but it's whatever I can do, right? So that's what's going to happen tomorrow. We're going to do this graft into here. There's one more thing I want to do to this cell builder, is I usually take a piece of queen excluder and just tack it over the entrance. I don't think I really have any danger right now because I haven't raised any queens, and I don't think my hives have either. But one of the dangers with a cell builder is that you can have a rogue virgin fly in there. They can really smell a queenless colony, and you can have a rogue virgin fly in there, and she will ruin your plans in a big hurry. I don't have time to make mistakes or to be delayed on this. I hope my grafts take well. I hope they build them well and they grow up to be good queens, because I'm pushing the timing. I won't have mated queens until 20th to 24th of June, which is really late. I can't really hope for much of a honey crop. I have to just hope for healthy colonies that'll winter. So that's what I'm going for. I'll continue to pilfer the apiary here as time goes on, because once the cells are done and the virgins appear, I'm going to need mating nukes. So I'll be making up mating nukes out of the apiary. I'm going to make them weak to start with. I just need mating nukes, and then we'll start boosting them after that. So that's the plan. It's an optimistic plan, but that's what I have to do. So I really appreciate you watching this week. I know it was a longer video, and I hope you enjoy next weekend's video when you see how the graft goes and whatnot. As always, I really appreciate you watching. Have a great weekend. Take care and have fun.